Hey fellow hikers, I just got back from climbing Mount Kilimanjaro and I summited on October 11th with an amazing company called Habari Adventures. And I traveled as a solo female and had the most amazing life-changing experience. Yes, it was hard. There may or may not have been tears on the trail, but if you're contemplating going, definitely do it. You won't regret it. You'll have an amazing time. So one of the things I struggled with the most before I started my trip was what to pack. You're very limited because the porters can only carry 15 kilograms. So I wanted to make sure I brought all the essential items and didn't bring too much stuff that I wouldn't end up using. So I decided to make this video hopefully to help you guys out as you start to pack for your adventure. One of the most important pieces of gear is your hiking boots. Try a bunch of different brands on. Every brand fits differently and every foot's different. So try a bunch on and then hike in them. And when I say hike, I mean hike, and hike some more. I think I did 4 or 5 14ers in these before taking them on Kilimanjaro. You're gonna want a pair that's reasonably lightweight, water resistant or waterproof, and with some good ankle support. These are Merrell's. I love them. They're the Merrell Vibram. They worked really well for me. Also, wear these on the plane. If your luggage gets lost, there's lots of places in Moshi where you can buy replacement gear, but boots would be very hard to replace because they're not broken into you. The next piece of gear that you're going to want to have are hiking poles. These are the hiking poles I use here for my hikes. However, they have to be packed in your check bag, so they're kind of cumbersome, and there's always the concern they'll poke through and damage your bag. So I opted just to rent a pair when I got there from my guide company. I think it was $5, but either way, you're going to want a good pair of hiking poles. They give you a lot of stability, especially when going downhill. The day pack. This is what you're going to bring every day on the trail with you. You're going to be carrying water, rain gear, snacks, all sorts of things on the trail. So get a backpack that fits you, that's comfortable. This one is an Osprey Cirrus 24. I liked it because it was adjustable, so I could fit it to me. It's pretty lightweight, had a lot of great pockets. So on the trail, I brought a variety of items. This is a puffy jacket. Actually my favorite jacket. I love this jacket. This is perfect for extra warmth when I needed it. You're going to want to bring a camel pack. This is a Osprey 2 liters. The guides filter the water and treat it for you, and then they'll fill these up for you every day. Having this hose is ideal. The more you're able to hydrate when you're hiking, the better you'll do, and not having to fish through your pack for a bottle of water and being able to just take a sip as you're going, I found was like the best way to do it. I also brought a backup, just an Nalgene bottle. Again, I could use this to transfer water over to my camel pack, and the guides filled this up for me every morning as well. Another thing that I brought are these things called Noon, I don't know how to pronounce them, but they're hydration tablets, and they make the water more flavorful. It made me more likely to drink the amount of water I needed to drink. So these sport hydration tablets were great. I just add them to my water. Other things I brought on the trail, this is insect repellent. I didn't need it. Never saw a single mosquito the whole time I was there, but I don't know how it is on other routes, so it might not be a bad idea to bring this with you. I also brought extra shoelaces. Didn't need them, but they were handy to have. And then I brought with me, this is a phone case on a lanyard. I didn't want to lug an expensive camera up the trail, so I took all the pictures with my phone. It's not a particularly great phone, but I had it in a waterproof, dustproof case hanging around my neck, so it's perfect. It was easy access anytime I wanted to take pictures on the trail. So this for me was a must-have item. I brought rain gear, so I had rain pants and rain gear with me. Again, I did the wrong guy route and it was dry and I never needed them, but you're supposed to carry them with you at any rate, so I did. For me, another must-have item was the Garmin. This is the old version. It's by DeLorme, but now it's Garmin InReach. This is amazing because it uses satellite, so you can text family and friends even when there's no cell service. It has an SOS feature, so if you get in trouble, you can press that and help will arrive in theory. And they also send little cookie crumb dots to a map that you can then share with family and friends, and they can literally watch you on your hike, the little blue dot going, so they can see where you are on Earth to within like 30 feet. So this is a must-have item for me as well. And then I brought with me, just in case I needed them, I didn't, but there's moleskin, Band-Aids, Neosporin. I also brought toilet paper, and the guides will usually give you some snacks, and you can bring some snacks you like that'll kind of keep you motivated, whether that's peanut M&Ms or just trail mix, but something to hike with as well. Another thing that's really important to bring are sunglasses. I brought 2 pairs just in case I were to lose one. You're gonna wanna bring sunscreen in your day pack and also some really good lip balm. And for me, since I wear contact lenses, I brought re-wetting drops in my day pack. So this is the day pack. Another essential piece of equipment is your duffel bag that the porters are gonna be carrying. Again, remember they can only carry 15 kilograms. So I got a North Face 95-liter duffel bag, which fit all the gear with room to spare. This up so you can see it. So this is perfect. I also got luggage locks, both for my day pack and my my duffel bag, just for when it was in the airport. And I also got these little Samsung luggage ID tags. So as I was traveling, I was worried about my luggage getting lost, and I was able to log in to my phone and see and track my luggage. So that was a little bit of extra comfort for me. So for the tops, I recommend putting everything in packing cubes. It's easier when you're moving from campsite to campsite to keep all your gear organized. I brought 3 layers. I actually only needed 2. Like I said, I did the wrong guy route. So the first day and a half was in a rainforest, so it was warm, and then after that it cooled off, so I could have gotten away with 2 of them. But these are merino wool. I highly recommend you wear merino wool or smart wool. They have moisture wicking properties. They actually don't smell, they don't wrinkle, so it's just a great material to wear when you're hiking. So these are my 3 tops. Then I had 3 long sleeve layers. So this layer, it's a merino wool, smart wool base layer. I wore this as my pajama top, so it'd stay clean for summit night. I never put this off until I'd cleaned off. So this I used every night as pajamas. And then hiking during the day, it's another smart wool top, and it was the perfect base layer. Also good for days where it was not too hot, not too cold, so I wore this actually quite a bit. And this is another medium weight smart wool base layer that I saved for summit night. Then, as I mentioned before, I had my puffy, which was perfect. I also had this fleece, which is good for the cool nights. It was a great layer to have. And then this one I only wore on summit night. It's a North Face shell. I got it large so it would fit over all my other layers. So for the bottoms, I got a pair of medium weight base layer. They're smart wool. Again, I'm a huge smart wool merino wool fan. I wore these as my pajamas pretty much every single night. Like I said, made sure I was clean before I got into these, and I also used them on summit night. A warm pair of fleece pants, which I didn't end up needing during the week, but I had them if I needed them. And then I brought 2 pairs of hiking pants. One's just an REI, the other's Mountain Hardwear. Both were really comfortable, so I wore these throughout the week. And then I also had a pair of these REI rain pants that I kept in my day pack. I really like them because they have a button and a zipper, so you don't have to take your shoes off when you're switching into them. You can just pull them up over your boots, which is perfect for me. So for socks, many of the days I wore a base layer. It helps reduce friction, and it also lets you wear your socks twice because it keeps them clean. So this, and then I'm a huge fan of smart wool, so I brought several pairs, medium weight smart wool socks. I think I had 4 pair total of these. One was a lightweight pair as well. So like I said, I really strongly advise you guys to use smart wool and merino wool for your socks. They wick the moisture away and you're less likely to get blisters. Hats. So I brought 2 hiking hats. I was pretty worried about keeping the sun off my face. I didn't want to get a sunburn. So I got this cheapy hat from Walmart. It's vented, kept the sun off my face. I wore this most of the days. And I also brought a baseball hat and ended up wearing them both. So what did I wear on top for summit night? A lot of people said that if you wear a bra, it's really constricting around your rib cage, and at 19,000 feet, it's already hard enough to breathe without feeling like you're being squeezed. So I got a silk cami. This is great because it's very comfortable and it was extra warm. So I wore this on summit night. This base layer smart wool that I've been wearing as my pajamas all week. I wore this medium weight base layer. It's merino wool, super warm. I wore this other smart wool layer that I've been wearing during the week hiking. Then on top of that, I wore my green fleece. And on top of that, my favorite puffy. And then on top of that, I had the North Face sort of outer shell. So this is all the stuff I wore. Basically all my tops on summit night. I look like the little kid from the Christmas story that if somebody just pushed me, I'd fall over. It was pretty ridiculous, but it did keep me warm. So these are my top layers. What did I wear on the bottom on summit night? So I had this layer. I had my fleece layer. I had a pair of hiking pants. And then I wore these as like a windbreaker shell on top. So those are the 4 layers for summit night. So for hats and gloves, one thing that I used all week long was this smart wool beanie. Mostly when I was sleeping in my sleeping bag at night, I could put this on my head for extra warmth. But then on summit night, I also added this baklava. I think that's how you say it. I will be honest though, about halfway up, I know it's psychological, but I felt like I could not breathe with this thing over my mouth and nose, and I kind of panicked and pulled it off. And the guides told me to leave it on, and I didn't, and I paid for it later with like a really bad windburn and sunburn that peeled, but I had it on in the beginning of the hike. And then I also had a buff. I used this during the week too on the trail. It's great because it keeps the sun off your neck. It's very versatile, so you can pull it over your hair if you need to. You can pull it up over your nose if it gets dusty, so this is a great layer to have. But I wore this on summit night. And then my 4th layer was this hat. I love it. It's by CC and it's lined, so it's toasty warm. Actually, it's my favorite hat. And I wore this even in some of the evenings when it was really cold and I needed something more than just the smart wool hat. So those are my 4 layers. Then for gloves, I got these black diamond mittens. They're crazy warm. It was a pricey investment, but worth it because they kept my hands warm. And I also got the matching liners for these. My hands were warm all night on summit night. I had put those little hand warmers in, but for me they didn't work. They never really warmed up, and I ended up with these like hard lumps in my gloves. So maybe you guys will have better luck, but they didn't work for me. But this combination, I didn't have any issues with cold hands, and I could still grip my poles with this. So this is what I wore on my hands on summit night. So for summit night, for socks, I had saved 1 pair that I kept clean of the liner socks, and then I got these smart wool, very warm socks. That said, my feet still froze on summit night. Fortunately, when the sun came up, they defrosted, so I only had a couple hours with frozen feet. I would have worn more pairs of socks than this, but I could not fit them in my hiking boots. I tried, but they didn't fit. So there's some other items that I brought. First, as far as sleeping bags go, you need a really warm sleeping bag, and I honestly don't like to camp when it's cold, so I didn't want to invest in a sleeping bag that I probably wouldn't use that much. So I rented one from my company. I think it was $20 for the whole week. But then I thought that everybody else was sleeping in that sleeping bag too. So I got this sleeping bag liner. It's the Sea to Summit Thermalite Fabric Reactor Extreme. It's probably going to be backwards for you guys. But this was great because I had something clean to sleep in at night, and it also adds about 20 degrees worth of warmth. So this is a really good investment. Another thing I brought was this Anchor 20 amp power pack, and this was perfect. It charged my GPS and phone all week. I wasn't charging anything else, no cameras or Kindles, but this worked for the whole week and had plenty of juice. I highly recommend this. This is more of a luxury item. It's an inflatable pillow, and normally I just roll up my fleece and mound it up and make a little pillow out of it, but it was nice to have this inflatable pillow, especially sometimes it's really hard to sleep at elevation, so every little bit helps. Another item that I didn't bring but I rented there was a hot water bottle. And I'm telling you, this is a must-have item. Every night the porters will fill it up with boiling hot water. You stuff it in your sleeping bag, and your sleeping bag then is toasty warm when you get in, and it helps keep you warm throughout the night. So take it from me, it's a must-have item. The book, like I said before, I was traveling as a solo hiker. So in the evening, sometimes I just wanted to decompress, and it was nice to have a book to read. I think if you're in a big group, you'd be socializing, maybe you wouldn't need it, but for me, it was nice to have. Notebook and pen, jotting down everybody's WhatsApp phone numbers and just funny things that happen that I'd want to remember later, and addresses, so a notebook. This is an absolutely essential item. Headlamp, and make sure you bring some backup batteries. I got lithium ones because they said that they would hold up well in the cold. So you're going to use this in the morning when they wake you up and it's dark, in the evenings when you're going to the bathroom, and then on some at night for hours. The batteries may freeze, so it's really important to have the backup batteries with your headlamp. So essential item. Another thing, headphones. I knew that some at night would be a challenge, and I wanted the distraction. There are people out there that think you should get lost in the moment and enjoy it, and that's great if you can do that, but I needed to be distracted. So I got an audiobook on my phone, and then I kicked it old school with wired ones. I didn't want one more thing to charge. I also didn't want them to fall out of my ears. I kept one in while I was hiking and the other out so I could listen to the guides. For me, this was a lifesaver, so it's a personal choice, but it worked for me. Another thing I brought were 7 of these. They're Good Wipes in my bag swag, and they're lavender scented with tea tree oil. The guides will bring you a little dish of hot water every day, and they tell you like washy washy, and you're supposed to clean yourself. But for me, I like these. I take them off, start top to bottom, kind of obvious. But I would do this before I got into my pajamas at night, so that way my pajamas stay clean, my sleeping bag stay clean, and you feel refreshed at the end of the day. So love these things. I also got some, these are Neutrogena. They're little face wipes, and they're pre-moistened, so you can just take them out and like wash your face down every night, get all the dust and debris off. So this is really valuable to me to have on the hike. I had hand warmers, but as I mentioned before, they didn't really work for me, so you guys might have better luck, but I had them anyways. And then I brought a bunch of these extra just bags in case I needed to organize a little more, so I had those in my pack. And then I brought this. I didn't know when I rented the sleeping bag if they would carry it or if I'd have to fit it in my pack, and it's so big I figured it would take up like 3/4 of my duffel bag. So I brought just a spare compression sack in case I needed to squish it down. Fortunately, they packed it in their bag for me, so that helped me out a lot. Other items, this I didn't take on the hike, but this is a stuff sack, a 50-liter one I got at REI. You're going to want to leave some stuff at the hotel. I ended up leaving my passport, which made me a little nervous, but they told me to do it. Your money, and then obviously like plain clothes and other stuff. So you can put it in this little compressible stuff sack and leave it behind. So this is what I brought and left at the hotel. Another item that I loved is this LifeStraw collapsible water bottle. It's great for the airports when you're traveling, if you're going anywhere else after, in and around Moshi. You just fill it up and it filters the water for you. So this is something that I really am glad I purchased. Another helpful thing to have is just this cardboard tube. When you summit, you'll get a certificate, and I didn't want it to get crumpled in my luggage, so I was able to roll it up and pack it in this and keep it protected. So for toiletries, I threw everything in one of these little stuff sacks. I had toothbrush, toothpaste, a hairbrush. I brought a little mirror, deodorant. I wear contacts, so contacts, contact case. And then as I mentioned earlier, it's really dry, so I had re-wetting drops in my day pack, and then also a pair in the tent. I bought 2 sets of re-wetting drops. You're gonna need sunscreen. I kept 2, one in my day pack, one in my other pack, just in case I lost one or something happened. For us girls, in case you need them. I brought Q-tips, dental floss, and then for meds, I didn't bring the whole containers, but I bought some Benadryl in case I had an allergic reaction to something, Sudafed, Imodium, let's see, Bayer aspirin, Aleve, And then Excedrin, for me when I hike, occasionally I do get headaches. They're not bad, but the only thing that ever seems to touch them is Excedrin. So the other thing I did is ask my doctor for just a generic prescription of antibiotics, just in case I needed them. And the other one is Diamox. And I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you to take it or not. And there's a big debate about it. But if you are going to take it, I suggest trying it at home, not waiting till you're on the mountain in case you have some sort of reaction to it. For me, the only reaction is it made my fingers really tingly, like pins and needles. And then it also made me have to pee constantly, and I already have to pee like every half hour. So that was a negative side effect. But I took it on the night before summit night and then on summit night, and that's the only 2 times I took it on the trip. But I was glad to have it. I think it probably helped a little bit. Items that I did need: individually wrapped candies. My thought was I would hand them out to the porters, but honestly they go by so quickly that I wouldn't have time to take them out. So I ended up carrying them on the whole trip, and at the end just giving the bag of them to the porters to eat when they were done. So in hindsight, I think just a bigger tip. The candies not so much, it was just extra weight. Another item that I didn't need was the shiwi. This actually isn't a shiwi, it's a pitch and trek. I thought I was going to use it, but then it just seemed too complicated to balance with your headlamp and the tent, and it was cold, and honestly by the time I got out of the sleeping bag it was just easier to run outside, so I never ended up using this. Gaiters, a lot of people recommend these, and for whatever reason I just never used them, so they're brand new. Maybe I'll find something I can do with them, but I think they may be helpful, but I never ended up using them. The towel, I brought this Sea to Summit towel thinking I would use it for washing, but I liked the wipes so much that I never ended up using it, so it's just more weight in my bag. And then this OR bucket rain hat. Like I mentioned, on the Rongai route it never rained, so I never needed it. It was just another item that I had in my bag that I never ended up using, but everything else that I had I used, and I was glad I brought. So as you prepare for your venture, I hope you found this packing list helpful. If you do, click the like button below. I've never made one of these before, so I don't know if it's any good or not, but I hope you appreciate it. And I will also put together a downloadable packing list for you guys as well. And happy trails.